when we were predominantly shooting film, the only real reference you needed for a decent dailies grade was middle gray, 18% gray. If you shot a gray card at the head of a scene, then the color timer would, look at the gray card, and they knew what the numbers should be for the proper, what the printer light numbers were to make this look like middle gray. So they could compensate for color shifts and print the card to be perfectly neutral gray, so your dailies would turn out basically the way you wanted them to. That doesn't work in HD. The color matrices affect color but leave neutral tones alone. So you can put this in front of a camera and dial through all the different color matrix settings, and you won't see these change at all. But these colors will be all over the place, and that's what you need to pay attention to. It's no longer enough to just shoot a neutral card. You have to show colors, and the colors have to mean something. And that's what's nice about this chart and DSC Labs charts in general, is every patch on here has meaning. The background is middle gray, which technically in Rec 709 is 41 units on a waveform monitor. I rounded off to 40. Different manufacturers have different references that they put out there for their log formats. And for log, that's fine, because log is just a storage format. It's not meant to be looked at. So they can put their middle gray wherever they want to for what they think are the best results. But for Rec 709, this gray background should end up at around 40 units. This is the same patch of gray. White is really just, it's probably about 90% white. It's just meant as a white reference for white balancing. If you look at the 3 color channels, red, green, and blue on a parade waveform, and line up the white peaks all the way across, then white should be nice and neutral. Same as if you line up the gray on the 3 color channels, and also the black. The black on this is shiny, and the reason it's shiny is because you can't print a black that's dark enough to really mean anything. You can print maybe a 2-stop below 18% gray black, which is kind of a dark gray. It's what you see on Macbeth charts. Their black is just a dark gray. It's about 2.5 stops below 80% gray. Adding the glossy surface allows for a much deeper black, and you do need to watch out for reflections and get rid of reflections if you can. But if you can do that, then the black will be really, really black, which you kind of want for black balancing, which is really important. If the black balance is wrong, everything is screwed up. If I see weird and strange colors in the image, the first thing I'll look at is the color matrix. The second thing I'll look at is black balance, because everything rides on black balance. Next up, we have 4 common flesh tone patches, and there's actually a line on the vector scope between red and yellow that all these line up on. There's a perfect spot for these to land, and if they land on that spot, you're going to have really nice flesh tones. These colors are the primary and secondary colors for the Rec 709 color space. They're at 50% saturation because you can't print colors bright enough to make the real primary and secondary colors for Rec 709. You can show them on a monitor. These monitors can reproduce much more saturated colors than you can print. But as far as printing, these are at exactly 50% saturation. So if you turn on your vector scope and dial it up to ×2 gain, then in theory all these colors will land in their boxes. Now, if they don't land in the boxes, that's more about the camera than it is about the chart. The chart is dead on accurate, but cameras often can't reproduce one or more of these colors accurately. Green is a really difficult one. A lot of manufacturers will sacrifice green, let green go a little yellow or a little blue in order to make flesh tones more accurate. Some companies will shift red around for the same reason, and some companies just decide that if their reds look a little bit better if they're a little orange, and their greens look a little bit better if they're a little yellow or a little blue. It's part of their secret sauce. This chart will show you what they're doing, so that if you end up in a situation where you really need to reproduce accurate color, and someone's sitting there saying, why isn't the Coke bottle the right color of red? You can pull this out and look at the camera and very quickly figure out which colors are doing the wrong things and potentially fix it. And if you can't fix it on the set, you should be able to fix it in post, simply by putting these colors in their boxes and putting these flesh tone patches on the flesh tone reference line, and then putting middle gray where it should be in this white balancing and black balancing.